Oh, what you got? Welcome back to the Protest Sports NFL Network. Your boy Tone, aka Tech. I am back with another video. If I get so glory to God, if I got to turn on God, of course, and pay with computer in the Lord's name. Permit today video. I'm here about the NFL, and today we're going to talk about the AFC South Division as I continue my series of the 2026 season preview, and I'm breaking down the rest of the NFL. We have done the NFC East. So we did Commanders, Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants. A division I'm very familiar with. I'm a Commanders fan. Also, a Commanders YouTube channel. It's the PSN Commanders Network. Go subscribe to that. Appreciate you guys. If you're a Commanders fan, go ahead to subscribe on that channel. We rolled to 8,000 subscribers on there. Appreciate y'all for that. We had broken down the AFC West. So Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, and then the Raiders. We have done the AFC North. So we have done Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers. And we have done the NFC North, which is, the Lions and Tigers and Bears. I'm sorry. Yeah. Lions, Bears, Vikes, and Packers. And now we are heading down south on the AFC side to the AFC South. So talk Jags, Titans, Texans, and of course the Indianapolis Colts. So we'll start with the last place team of the division last year, which was the Tennessee Titans. We'll talk about them real quick. And talk about their off season, what they've done, and what they drafted, and how I think this team is going to look, and their schedule very briefly as well. So let's start with the Tennessee Titans. So they did fire their former head coach, I forgot his name now, Brian Callahan. They told him, get up out of here, fired him mid-season. They did hire Robert Saleh, former 49ers defensive coordinator, and also former New York Jets head coach, as their new head coach. Also notably, they did hire former Giants head coach Brian Daboll as their offensive coordinator. Very good moves here. I love the offensive coordinator hire for Cam Ward. I think it's a heck of a move there. Robert Saleh is a very solid coach. He's a very good defensive mind as a head coach. I think it's more to be desired, but he has good coordinators. I think everything works well. They acquired Jermaine Johnson II from the Jets in a trade that sends Terrandre Sweat to the Jets. So I think it's an even swap. They already had Jeffrey Simmons, who's an absolute dog in the interior. Do they really need another interior dog? Probably not. They probably need an edge rusher, so they sent Terrandre Sweat on his way to the Jets, and they acquired Jermaine Johnson II. Not a bad move. I don't have no arguments with that. They did also acquire Solomon Thomas from the Cowboys for a 7th-round pick. Solomon Thomas can play inside or outside. He has that positional flex. That's kind of cool. Don't love that, but I don't hate that either. I think it's an okay move, I guess. Notable free agency signings, they did sign Wanda Robinson to a 4-year, $78 million contract. Did sign John Franklin Myers to a 3-year, $63 million deal. Signed Lante Taylor and Cordell Flott to 2 starting corners on the same team. 3 years, $60 million, 3 years, $45 million respectively. And they also signed Tommy Townsend, the punter, Tony the safety, Daniel Bellinger, the tight end, Cordell Volson, the guard, and Jordan Elliott. And finally, they did sign Mitchell Trubisky to a 2-year contract to serve as the backup, which will allow them to trade Will Levis, which I think they should do ASAP before the season starts. Finally, let's look at their draft real quick. Their draft was very interesting as well. So in the first round, they had 2 first-round picks. They spent those first-round picks as follows. They did draft Cardinal Tate with the 4th pick in the 2026 NFL draft to team up with Calvin Ridley and Wanda Robinson, and Eric Emilinor is his name. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce his name. If I butchered it, Eric, I do apologize about that, sir. But yeah. Kendrick Bolt was the very first pick. I think that's a really good run stuffing defensive end who also could play inside. But he's not the best pass rusher in the world, but he's a very balanced player. He's a solid pass rusher and a really good run stopper. So I like that pickup. Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker out of Texas, can cover, can tackle, can do a little bit of everything. I like that pickup. Fernando Comoro Jr., I don't know too much about him. I can't answer questions. But I can tell you a lot about Nick Singleton. That's a dog right there. Boy, him, Tajay Spears, and Tony Pollard. Love that backfield. Jackie Marshall. Don't know too much about him. Pat Coogan, really solid offensive lineman. I wanted to draft him as a Commanders fan, so I think he's a solid player. And Jaren Kanek with the seventh round pick, and also another solid football player there. So I do think the Titans had a very, very solid offseason. I don't hate any of their moves. I don't love everything they did, but I like what they did. I think they did a lot of solid things. I like what they brought to the table this year. Let's look at their schedule very briefly. And I'll give some teams that I'm like, they can maybe win. They can maybe win that game, maybe not. I do play the Jets week 1. That's going to be an interesting game because both teams are not good, but the Titans are at home, so they can start 1-0. I think they can win that game. They got the Eagles. I think they could beat the Giants in week 3. Got the Ravens, got the Texans, Colts, Browns, another winnable game. Bengals, Jaguars, Cowboys, Jaguars again, Commanders not beating us. Sorry, Titans fans, we're not losing to y'all. Sorry. That happened. Lions, Colts again, Raiders, just another winnable game. Steelers and Texans. So I believe the Titans are probably a 5-12 team, 6-11 ish. I'll give you my final record when I do record predictions for every team, but this is a quick little season preview. I'm not going to really give my actual record, but I'm gonna say they're probably in between a 4-13 to a 6-11 team. I'm leaning toward more the 6-11 though than the 4-13, but I think they're probably a 6-1 team this year. I think they're a year away from really getting above 500 and really start to contend for something. And I think the AFC South is not pushed over anymore. So with that being said, I think that's an interesting division, but nonetheless, an interesting team here with the with the Titans. So a very interesting team. I think this team could do some good things this year. Also, this season can also go left, but I think a solid season for them is 6-11. I think it's a solid year for them. I think that will allow them to take things to the next level in 2027. Next, we want to look at the Houston Texans. Actually, it's the next team we're going to take a look at. Actually, we'll take a look at the Colts because the Colts are interesting. So they had a very interesting offseason. So they did re-sign Daniel Jones to a 2-year, $84 million contract, I believe. They brought back Alec Pierce at $29 million a year. The Commanders offered more money, but he took slightly less money to stay with the Colts. They traded Michael Pittman Jr. to the Steelers in response to that. They brought in, I guess they brought back Nick Westbrook at Akine. They brought back a guy like Laquan Treadwell. Not really important moves. Zaire Franklin was traded to the Packers, exchange for Kobe Wooden. Okay, yes. They signed Arden Key, Michael Clemens, Cam Taylor-Britt, and Akeem Davis Gafford. Oh, those are okay moves. I don't hate those moves. Brought in Derek Nandi and Jerry Tillery in free agency, solidified the defensive lineup. They did lose Sampson and Buellcam to the Falcons. They did lose Nick Cross to the Commanders. And they did lose Neville Gallimore to the Bears, former Cowboys player there. So we're going to see what the draft looks like because I don't know they drafted. I know they didn't have a first-round pick, obviously, because of the Sauce Gardner trade. But they did pick C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. I love that pickup. Self McGowan out of Kentucky. I like that pickup. And with Deion Burks from Oklahoma, that's a steal in the 7th round. I think he's going to do some good things for them. I like that one. Bryce Boucher, linebacker out of Oregon. I liked his game a lot coming out of Oregon. I went to Commanders to draft him at some point. We did not do that. We did take Sonny Styles, obviously. But I like this overall. He drafted 2 linebackers to help their linebacker room. George Gums Jr. out of Florida. I think he's a really, really, really underrated pass rusher. Caden Curry out of Ohio State. I think he's another solid pass rusher and a really good run stuffer as well. So this is not bad. The Colts offseason was weird. I don't think they got better, but they didn't get like worse. They kind of stayed the same. Everything said and done. They got worse at receiver. They got better at pass rusher. They got worse at linebacker slightly, but they got worse at linebacker and safety. But they got better at running back and tight end. Not tight end. I'm not tight end. They got better at wide receiver and depth wide receiver. And they got better in the offensive line with the guard, Jalen Farmer at Kentucky. So they got better in some spots, they got worse in some spots. So it's like they kind of stayed the same. And Daniel Jones' health is very, very questionable. So we're gonna get their schedule real quick. I probably not gonna like their schedule. I think their Colts will have a tough time this year. I'm gonna be honest. So their week 1 game is I'm not gonna predict anything. I'm gonna give you games I think they're winnable. So play the Ravens week 1. I don't think it's a winnable game. They play the Chiefs week 2. I don't think it's a winnable game. The Texans week 3 is not a winnable game. The Commanders game is winnable. I'm gonna be honest. That game is winnable. If the Commanders are struggling, then yeah, it's a winnable game. I think Steelers is a winnable game. The Titans is a winnable game. The Vikes is a winnable game. Depending if it's Kyler Murray or if it's JJ McCarthy, I think the Colts actually like wipe the floor with them, but none of my business. Dolphins are winnable. You definitely beat the Dolphins. I don't care what I don't care. You better beat the Dolphins. They're not good. They will not be good. I'm gonna state that they're not good. There's no way they're gonna be good, bro. There's no way. Texans, I don't think it's a winnable game. The Giants game's a winnable game. Don't think you're gonna beat the Eagles. Don't think you should split with the Titans. Don't think you're gonna sweep the Titans. You could sweep the Titans, but I'll say I'll sweep the Titans. I'll be nice, I guess. Browns winnable game, and the Jags at home is always a winnable game. So probably 7 wins for the Colts. Shane Steichen losing this job. I just don't think this team's good enough. You lose Nick Cross. You trade Zaire Franklin away. Those are big pieces to that defense, I believe. Though Zaire's not as good as he was years past, but I think he's still a really solid linebacker. Got better on the tier defensive line. Got better edge rusher. Got worse at wide receiver. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Jonathan Taylor's still a dog, though. Yeah, I would say your floor is 5-12. Your ceiling is probably 8-9. And that's going to cost Shane Steichen this job. Shane Steichen ain't last, to be honest. And he probably had to go back. He's probably had to go back to being an offensive coordinator. So that sucks if you are a Colts fan. Just don't see the playoffs. I just don't. AFC is disgusting. It's gonna be tough. I don't see playoffs. Texans in your division, also the Jags in your division. I just don't see playoffs. I don't see playoffs. We're going to get to the Texans now and CJ Stroud. It's a big year for CJ. He is entering year 3, and hold on, what the heck? Okay, my fault. I was seeing some weird stuff. But big year for CJ Stroud going to year 3. That playoff game was terrible. That playoff run was terrible. He had like 10 turnovers in 2 games. That was pathetic. That was bad. The regular season wasn't bad. The regular season, I think he had like 15 touchdowns to like 7 interceptions, something like that. So, he wasn't bad in the regular season. He was terrible in the playoffs. Bad. He has to bounce back from that. That's not good enough. So, let's look at what they have done so far. Notable moves. They signed Reed Blankenship to a 3-year, $21 million contract. They extended Danielle Hunter. They brought in Dominic Robinson. They gave Dalton Schultz an extension. They signed Wyatt Teller. I love that move, by the way. I think that really helps the interior offensive line. They need that help. They traded for David Montgomery to team up with Woody Marks in the running back room. They traded Titus Howard away, which I thought was a little controversial. But nonetheless, it was a little controversial for me. They did draft Keon Rutledge with the 26th overall pick. They did drafted Caden McDonald. My gosh. I forgot they got Caden McDonald. That's nasty work. Restructured the contracts of Jalen Petrie and Derek Stingley to hold up to create $20 million in cap room, and they did release Mario Edwards and Jimmy Ward. So overall, I like this offseason for them. We'll look at their draft and then we'll look at their schedule. But I like what they've done when it comes to the off season. I like the moves they made. I think they did really great early in the draft too, which I think their first 5 picks were insane. But yeah, picking up David Montgomery, picking up Wyatt Teller. You did trade away Tyus Howard, but you did take a tackle early in the draft to replace him. Took a guard. Caleb Reynolds is a guard. That's fine. But they got someone to step in for Tyus Howard. I forgot who it would be, but you got someone to step in. I forgot who it is, though. Caden McDonald's a huge pickup. I love Martin Klein out of Michigan. Did you really need another tight end, though? I know they took Brevin Jordan a couple years back. I guess he didn't work out. So they take Martin Klein here. I love the Oklahoma guard. I think he's going to be really good in the running game. And Kamari Ramsey is going to be a dog. Like, Kamari Ramsey is a steal. Him, along with Reed and Jalen Petrie. I love their safety room. They got like one of the best safety rooms in the league. I love their safety room. Their safety room is ridiculous. Let's look at their schedule real quick, and then we'll go ahead and move on to the next team. But I like the Texans did. The Texans did some really good things. Can't lie, say they didn't do anything crazy. They did some good things. They didn't do nothing like overly crazy, but trading away I just had his name on the top of my head. Titus Howard. That was a gamble, but nonetheless, outside of trading Titus Howard, I'm sorry, they make too many huge gambles. Bills game, they did beat them last year. But it's a new year. I don't know who's going to win that game. That'd be fun. Bengals, that's another tough game. I think it's going to be really fun. I think you could beat the Colts. I think you beat the Cowboys, stifle that offense, beat the Titans. But you split the Jags, you kind of split with them every year. You beat the Giants. Chargers is iffy. Browns, you should be able to beat the Browns. I think you sweep the Colts, if I'm being honest. Don't think you're gonna beat Baltimore though. Don't know if you beat Pittsburgh. You could beat the Commanders. I am biased. I am a Commanders fan, but you guys should be favored to win that game. If I'm being honest, the Texans should be favored to win that game. If I'm being honest, though. Don't think you beat the Eagles. Don't know if you beat the Jags. Mike could be back by the time you play the Packers. That's a little iffy. And then you play the Chiefs with the Titans. So I'm gonna say the floor for the Texans is 8-9. The ceiling is 11-6. I think this could be a fire schedule for you, or you could struggle a little bit. But I do think this Texans team is a playoff team. I think they're gonna win 10 or 11 games. So I think they'll make the playoffs, and we'll get to the Jags. Jags, man. Jaguars are interesting. Let's see what the Jaguars did this offseason. So, pretty quiet offseason. Brought back a lot of guys. He lost a lot of guys, too. Chris Rodriguez, former Washington Commanders running back, signed with them with a 2-year, $10 million deal. He actually got hurt in minicamp, so hope he's healthy for training camp. Martell Brown was brought back on a 3-year contract extension. You brought back Dennis Gerdak, linebacker. You retained Matt Dickerson, Christian Braswell, and DJ Dallas, and also Aton Harrison was his fifth-year extension was exercised. You did lose these 3 players, and I think these players are going to hurt a little bit. You did lose Travis Achan Jr., according to Travis, formerly ETN Jr., um, to a New Orleans Saints for a 4-year contract. They lose Devin Lloyd to the Panthers. Did lose Greg Newsom to the New York Football Giants, and did lose Andrew Wingard to the Cardinals. You drafted guys like Nate B. I'm not pronouncing his last name. Tight end Texas A&M. He's an interesting guy. To team up with Evan Ingram and Braden and Strange and all those guys. That's a cool tight end room. Jaden Husky's another notable draft pick, and Tanner Cole, tight end out of Houston. I don't love your draft. I think it's solid though, not bad. Look at your schedule. Let's see the schedule getting on. So week 1, you play the Browns. Yeah, that's one of them. Broncos, that's tough. Patriots, that's tough. Bengals, that's tough. Not beating the Eagles. Don't think you're beating the Texans twice. You at least lose them once. Probably split the Colts too. I don't think you're beating the Ravens. Don't think you're beating the Bears in December. That's not happening. Don't think you're beating the Cowboys. I think the Commanders can beat you as well. No bias, by the way, but yeah. And then I think you beat the Colts at home to end the season. So your floor to me is 7-10, and your ceiling is 10-7. I would lean toward the floor. I think the Jags are going to fall for a little bit. They lost a lot of talent. They didn't really recover a lot either. So that's tough. I don't know. Well, man, Texans win the division. I believe that the Jags finish second, the Colts finish third, and the Titans do run up the rear. But third and fourth could be interchangeable. I think that the Titans can win a couple of games that they shouldn't win. That'll get them to third, and the Colts are in the rear. But I think the Colts are talented enough not to be at the bottom of the division. So we'll see how it goes. But that's what I got for you guys today. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We're on the road now to 100 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button, like button, share button, and comment your thoughts on today's breakdown of the AFC South. Who you have winning the division? Who you have not winning the division? Why not? And that's what I got for you guys tonight. Be safe, stay healthy. Peace.